honest, today, I don't really want to do authentic. I don't really want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to anybody. As a matter of fact, I really just don't feel like doing anything. And I felt that way for, a week or so now. You see, over the last couple years, my life has been just like up and down. I've seen gone to some great heights, some great peaks, as you would say. And then within no time, just been down in a valley. And it's hard to understand that. It's hard for me to understand that. I know it's hard for you to understand that if you've been in that situation. See, I've been hospitalized twice. One time for my heart. They believe it was the stress of everything that was going on in my life. And then another time to remove my appendix. It had almost ruptured, and the doctor actually told me that, I was really lucky to be here. When we were in Nashville, I signed a recording contract with a record label up there, produced an album, then they didn't do their job, and I broke it off with them only to have them sue me and slander me all over Facebook. I had 2 of the songs I recorded go to #1 on like 3 national charts. I toured up and down the East Coast, and then all of a sudden, my way of living was gone. How I make my money, being an artist and touring, was gone because of this COVID virus. My wife and I also, up in Delaware, we invested all of our savings, cashed in retirement to try to start a new business so that we could have some legitimate income, not just the music. And what happens? Oh, here comes the virus, and it just shuts down really all business. And I know there's a lot of you folks out there that are probably hurting from that as well. If that wasn't enough, just dealing with the circumstances, is hard enough sometimes. But also with the circumstances, I also have some other things and issues that are going on in my life that I can't control at all. Number one, I have chronic migraines. I've been having migraines since I was, in my late teens. But the thing is, with stress, they increase in their intensity and in how long they last a lot of times. And I know some of you may say, some of you just have headaches, and that's fine. Pain is pain. But the thing is, a migraine's not just a headache. What I have is a special type of migraine. And what it does to me is, although there is intense pain, I have vertigo because of it. I have dizziness. I get so sick to my stomach that a lot of times I'll throw up. I get sensitive to all kinds of sounds and smell and light. And a lot of times I just have to lay down in a dark room. And if it gets really bad, a lot of times I'll lose feeling in the left side of my body. Like my hands become numb, that side of my body becomes numb. And I have trouble speaking. It's like it feels almost like I'm having a stroke. But I know it's not a stroke because I've had tests and all of those things. And even when I take my emergency medication, or what they call rescue medication, and it'll curb the pain, but then it's a whole nother thing because you're taking this medicine that's changing the way your brain functions. And so you kind of get a high, but it's not a good high. And you spend you're kind of in a fog for 3 or 4 hours. And honestly, this happens to me like 15 to 20 days out of a month a lot of times. And if that's not enough, I can keep going. With those migraines and the normal stress of my circumstances, I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I have OCD. I've had it since I was 9 years old. And a lot of folks, and I see this on especially the OCD pages that I'm part of on Facebook, a lot of folks really will just say, well, I have to keep everything neat. I'm so OCD. I have to have everything in the right place. Let me just let you in on a little secret. If all you have to do is keep things neat and in the right place, or clean up and be tidy or whatever, or maybe you have to wash your hands more than some people, honestly, that's not OCD. That's just normal human behavior. It really doesn't have anything to do with what you're talking about, with keeping things neat and tidy. And that's what happens to us. We get this stigma attached to us because people think they can relate, and they can't. Really OCD's a crippling mental disorder. It affects every part of my life. I'm classified as a pure O, which means that most of my thoughts, I don't have a lot of compulsions. I don't have a lot of things that I have to do with my hands or with all this kind of stuff. Mine mainly is in my brain itself, so there's not really a compulsion. And so I really don't have a lot of relief. For example, one of the thoughts that come to my mind is called harm OCD. And I'll just give you an example. Okay, so say like my wife and I, who I love with all my heart and I would never hurt. We're grilling up some steaks. We're getting ready to have some dinner together. We've grilled up the steaks. We're preparing to set the table. We baked some potatoes. We got a salad. And I begin to set the table, but when I reach into the drawer to get out that silverware, and I have to pull out the steak knives because we have to have something to cut the meat with, when I touch those knives, all of a sudden this thought pops into my head. What if I stab my wife Bunny with this knife? See, that's the kind of things I deal with. And then that thought, that intrusive thought, it doesn't just pop in and pop out like it does for people with a normal brain. See, what happens is it's like a record player. That if you've ever experienced a record player, or even you could think of it as a DVD or something, anything that you were playing, and all of a sudden it started to skip and started to go back to that same place over and over and over and over and over and over again. Well, if it's a DVD, you just wipe it off. If it's a record, you can either get a new one or get a new needle for your record player. But see, for me, I can't pull out my brain and be like, oh, let me wipe this off and check it out. Nah, it just keeps running around and around and around and around and around and around my mind. You see, now, not only it's ruined my evening with my wife, because now I'm afraid to use my knife to cut my steak. I'm afraid to even be close to my wife at that point in time because I feel this thought. I feel this intrusive thought. It makes me feel like a monster. And though my rational brain is like telling me the truth, what I call my rational brain, my real brain is saying, this is stupid. This is dumb. This is ridiculous that you're even thinking about this. See, my OCD brain, it won't let it go, and it just continues to beat me down. It continues to hit me with that same thought over and over and over and over and over again, like that record player. It doesn't go anywhere. And a lot of times it can take a day, it can take a week for that thought to go away. There have been times when I was younger and didn't have medication to deal with, didn't understand OCD. There might be a thought that's stuck in there for months at a time, year. There have been a couple of thoughts that have been there for a whole year. Now, really the thing is, I'm really trying to do this different today because I just want to be honest with you. And my wife Bunny always tells me, sometimes you just got to let your feelings out and show people how you feel. And I didn't tell you all this because, I want to gripe and I want to moan and I want to, have you feel sorry for me. I honestly told you all this simply because I want you to know that I can not only sympathize with you, I can empathize. Meaning that I go through this. I'm not just somebody saying, I'm not a doctor that's looking at you going, oh, I understand your symptoms. I understand this. No, I go through it every day. I live with it. I live with chronic pain. And it's really terrible. It's awful. But I believe that each of us, we have choices. We decide what we will do with the pain. Essentially we just decide. A long time ago, I made a choice that I'm not going to let pain dictate my life. I've decided that I'm going to defy my pain. Not die to my pain. Because in that defiance is how I get up every morning, how I keep going every day. I believe with all my heart that we choose to defy our physical, emotional, and spiritual pain in order to make our pain profitable. Now, some of you are saying, how can my pain profit anything? Well, just like what I'm doing right now, I'm hoping this is going to be profitable for you. I'm hoping you're going to hear somebody say, man, I go through this crap, here's how I deal with it. But that's not always the case. And as bad as it, gets, I know that I can still make something good come out of this pain. Our pain, the pain we carry with us, makes us who we are. It defines us. You can't be who you are and take away the pain. I'm a much better person now because of what I've dealt with in the past. I'm a much better listener. I'm a much better husband. I'm a much better father. Hopefully I'm a much better person to minister to people because I've been there and I know how it feels. I know what it feels like to go through hurt, to go through loss, to go through pain every single day. I want my pain in my life. I need my pain. I don't want to forget it. I don't want to forget where I've been. And I think that's what we have to remember. We're all on this journey. We're all on a journey through life. And we all experience different things. We experience different types of pain. But what it really comes down to is, how can my pain be profitable to other people? And even profitable to myself? What can I take from it? What can I use from my pain? In pleasure, a lot of times we don't learn anything because it lulls us to sleep, makes us comfortable. However, just like your muscles, if I go work out, I've got to tear my muscles down in order to build them back up. It's the same principle. It's just going on in a more holistic way and a more of an emotional and a spiritual way. Pain really is the catalyst for the growth in our lives. Our pain does define us. Our pain does make us who we are. Your purpose, my purpose on this earth, I do not believe it can be achieved without some type of pain, without experiences, without going through things. We have to have that pain. James talks about it. He says, when we face all this pain in our lives, we should consider it pure joy, great joy, all joy, nothing but joy, and every joy. Because see, the product of the pain is so much greater than the pain itself. Now today, as you go through your day, I want you to try to think about that. If you're going through some serious pain right now, if you're dealing with things right now, you need to think about, all right, what is this developing in me? How can I defy my pain and then use it to define me, to make me better? Then you find that purpose in your pain.